appreciate that. We have some callers if you guys want to stay for a couple of those. Is that okay?
I actually have to go. Sorry.
I understand.
I'll hang out with you,
Have
Whick.
a great day. Okay.
All right,
Well,
cheers,
thank you,
Whick.
Destiny. I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess. Well, first of all, let's bring in a couple of these callers and. Okay, Dev. What do you guys? First of all, I guess for the audience here, Dev and Stormwolf, what are your thoughts here? I have thoughts. Before I give my thoughts, I want to hear your thoughts. Okay.
Dev, you can go first.
Hold on, my mic is not working completely correctly on my end. Give me a second.
Okay. Well, Stormwolf, you go first then, please.
Sure. I guess like my thing was like I came in mainly to disagree with the other panelists, but I guess it's fine. I feel like the issue is I think we saw this is this like inability to live in reality is really concerning. Like when we watch that Jacob Frey video, the idea that you can look at that video and say that Jacob Frey isn't telling people not to impede ICE officers is like insane. He explicitly says, hey, you record them, but if you want to be violent, nope, go home, right? If you can't do that, go home. It seems like an explicit call, and the idea that we can like somehow say that, and when like it's concerning to me that like we're talking about deploying the Insurrection Act when Donald Trump didn't want to deploy the Insurrection Act for an act, well, maybe because he's causing the insurrection. The idea that we would ever look to him about the Insurrection Act is insane. There's nothing that's risen to the level of an insurrection. When Drew's saying, oh, well, stealing federal guns is an insurrection, that's not what an insurrection is. And it's so obvious he has no understanding of the law, or they don't care about it, and it's really concerning.
Okay, and just to be clear, I'm going to prioritize callers after these guys who disagree. So if you think that the Insurrection Act should be invoked, or if you disagree on what was said about ICE and things from Destiny, I will prioritize you. Just let me know. Dev, thoughts?
I'm here now. Hopefully, can you hear me? Everything good?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I mean, using the Insurrection Act is probably actually justified, I think. However, that's because it's a good insurrection. They should be insurrecting, because what's going on is bullshit.
But they're not insurrecting yet. But if they were, that would be based, but...
I don't think it's risen to the level of Insurrection Act yet.
Not even close.
Okay, I don't know if we want to do the meta stuff, but I guess I'll just ask you, Destiny, do you think that was a good showing? Right? Like...
Sure, yeah.
I disagree.
That was a shit show debate. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was a shit show, but it didn't have to be, and it's kind of frustrating me. I'm
yeah,
annoyed,
but it's like it's one of those things.
Annoyed.
What did you do for work before like streaming? Can I ask that, or are you like secretive about it?
Yeah, you can ask that. I was in the military for a few years. I worked at taxes and titles for a bank for a little bit. I did just various odds and ends, but the military is the main one. And now
what was your MOS, or were you in the Army, or what were you in?
I was in the Air Force. I was a crypto linguist for 3 years. I studied
crypto linguist. Can you imagine?
Yes, and
you and me having a debate on crypto linguism or something, and I don't even know like anything about cryptography or hashes. I don't know any about that, but we're gonna like argue like what is the optimal way to approach it, I guess, in the Air Force. Would you even have that conversation with somebody? Like my issue is that like it's like we're being asked like what do you think is like the most efficient way to integrate functions, and it's a person who's never done algebra before. Like that to me, that's just like even entertaining the conversation is a joke. Like if these people can't agree on like go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, but even at having something with a high level of expertise, we can also, I would happily have a conversation with someone on like, to what level do we think that the government should intrude upon people's privacy in order to gather information? I think that doesn't require a whole lot of expertise to have a moral debate about what should we do. Right?
Yeah, but that's boring. I'm not here to have a moral debate about a bunch of things, but when we have like actual factual things happening, it's a boring question to say like what should the moral thing? I'm sorry, I don't mean to say that it's boring. There could be a discussion for that, but I don't want that anywhere near tied to like what's actually happening in real life right now. Because if you're going to engage with like a real life thing or policy or set of actions happening right now, then you should know about them. And if you can't even acknowledge some basic shared reality about it, then you shouldn't be in that conversation. You're a deeply unserious person.
Like I think the issue is like it's easy to say like we could have.
If I can respond, I'll let you go. I promise, right? But like it's all about moderation in these things. And when I say that, like I think if you had taken some of these instances where you did show them to be Unserious, and I think you did, and you had just, again, done that a little less, but also engaged with their point, I thought it would.
I can't. I'm not going
much
to.
more effective thing.
Why would I'm not going to argue calculus with somebody who's never done algebra? I'm just not even going to waste my time. There's not even a good fit. It's not even. I'm not even owning them. It's the equivalent to slapping around a kid in a coma. Like, what's the point? Why would I even pretend that they're capable of engaging in the conversation just because they might be able to utter a grammatically coherent sentence? Doesn't mean that they know anything about the topic. Like, if you don't know any of the underlying facts of anything that's happened for anything at all, you don't know what happened with the Renee Good shooting. You don't even know if the vehicle was trapped in a snowbank. You don't know any of the statements that the president of the United States, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, you don't know any of these things. Why the fuck would I ever have a conversation with you about an insurrection in Minnesota? You don't apparently know fucking anything about it. Not you personally, but the other two people. That's crazy to me.
I get you. I understand.
Well, like, here's what I'll say, right?
Go
Like,
ahead,
yes,
please.
it is true. You can have these conversations with people who are like less educated than you, but then these people should come in and say, "I don't know shit. I'm just clueless and want to like learn about it." The issue is they come in with these opinions, and when you ask them for examples, they'll be like, "Well, what example?" Like when you're asking like someone like, "What is an example of a group?" And like, "I don't know the names of any groups." They're not trying to. This isn't a serious conversation. You can't come in and make claims and then not have evidence to back it up. If it would be one thing if they're coming in and saying, "This is what I've heard. I want to learn more about it," and have a conversation. But if you're coming into debate to stake out a position, the idea that you can just say, "Well, examples don't matter," and whatever. No, you're not trying to engage in good faith then, or you're either disingenuous or retarded at that point.
Yeah,
And
like
that's the
imagine if I
issue.
was trying to
We can't
argue
have
in
debates if we're not engaging on facts.
Imagine if I was trying to argue in favor of slavery, and I give you every single example in history where a slave benefited. They were part of like an upper class household, and they were learned to read or whatever. And then every time you're like, "Well, what about when slaves were beat?" I don't know about those examples. Okay, what about when slaves were killed? I don't know about those examples. Well, what about slaves? Well, I don't know any of the bad examples, but not all the good ones. How are we going to have a serious conversation about that? It's impossible. It's a joke to even pretend it, I think.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately,
Well, actually, hold on. I have a question for you then.
Let me piggyback in actually, because I want to turn this to you as well. The fact that you let these people on when they clearly don't know what they're talking about is bad enough. But the fact that they're also being bad faith about it, like when I press Drew and say, "Hey, like you keep saying this is an attack on Christianity, you wouldn't say the same about Islam," and then you're not going to acknowledge why they were there, which was not to protest Christianity. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm at the gym. This is ridiculous. These people clearly aren't here to have a discussion about the facts. At least the Hunter guy can say, "Hey, I looked up this thing. I was totally wrong about it." Now, granted, you didn't know other shit, but like that's a little more good faith. Why do you let these people on? Like, you can't let the money that comes from letting retards on, like, have a little fucking chicken fight outweigh the fact that there could be an interesting discussion here that you're just completely throwing out the window by letting on morons like Drew on.
I disagree. I don't think there's any conservative you could bring out to have a good conversation. And I support Whick, and I like that Whick let these people on. Okay, just to be clear. Okay.
No, you can let stupid people on, like Grid. You let Grid on our debate, and that was a stupid conversation. But he's a moron. He's not bad faith. Like there are different levels of this, and if you're going to let people come on who, one, are uneducated, but two, are willing to lie about it and just never let any point slide because they'll just keep moving the goalposts, like this is so fucking frustrating to watch. This is so lame. It's not worth the super chats that you get. Please stop doing it.
So I think that there's a value in having people on to represent a position and then to showcase that they don't know what they're talking about. I think that
they're
there's
not
a value
representing
in
the
that.
position. Drew is not representing the position. Drew is taking the position that he wants to take because he's
Hold on,
grifting,
do you
and then
think
will
it's-
lie and obfuscate and deviate from any facts so that he can show you, "Oh, actually, no, let's move away from that one point." At least Grid, who's a moron, will say, "Actually, no, I'm going to deep throat the point that I should have shot that lady in the car." That's a completely different discussion, but that's not what you're doing. You're letting on people who are just lying to be the other side. It's like playing devil's advocate in high school debate class, except they're doing it for money, and they're not told to do it. It's not the instruction. They're doing it because they want to make money and grift off of it. It's
But I
fucking
think people
retarded
can
stuff.
see
You're giving
that,
them what they
can
want.
observe that, and they can make their decisions based on
I don't
that.
think it-
And I think that
I don't
is
think
a
people do see it, and
I
you
want
don't
to
call it
hold on,
out.
just let me
Absolutely
finish.
not.
I want to know who does that, right? So I can know more about their moral character. And if we never give them the
Oh,
chance
cool.
to
So you're
do
never
that,
letting Drew on
you
again?
won't make me
Are you never
know.
letting Drew on again? Are you never letting
No,
Drew
I'll
on again?
have Drew on again because
What
I
do you
think
mean? You
it
just found out.
bears repeating. Lessons have to be
Okay, how many
repeated.
times do we have to learn that he's a fucking waste of time to talk to? 10
talk
times?
to him.
Know the
That'll be
exact
fun.
number for
20
you,
times?
But I do think there's value in repetition,
Look.
and again, allowing people.
Can I cut in
to
here? Can I
speak
cut
their
in here for a
piece.
second?
And
Wait,
if they
well,
lie, and if they obfuscate, and if they're bad faith,
No.
people can see that. People can make decisions on their own. I am not here to judge who is a liar and who is not. I
Whick,
obviously have my
Whick,
opinions, right?
if you invited me on to an economics debate against Nicholas Decker, who has a fucking like 3 degrees in it, and I started trying to argue about things I had no idea about and was lying about it, I would expect you to kick me off. And if you let me on, I'd lose respect. Just say, like, it's ridiculous.
You would expect me to kick you off? No, why not
Yeah,
let
you
him
s-
take you to task? Why not let him
Yeah.
again?
You get 10 minutes to show that I don't know what I'm
everyone
talking
the
about,
gulf
and
of
then not
knowledge
too.
between you two. By kicking
Yeah,
you
and then-
off, I am again preventing the audience from
Never-
seeing the gulf of knowledge between these two people.
You let him do it for 10 minutes, and then you don't let him on ever again. It's ridiculous.
Okay, I just disagree.
I
with
think
that.
the
Go
issue
ahead,
is
Dev.
like
Just real
the
quick,
issue is,
Dev's
like-
gonna try to get in. Dev ahead.
Yeah, I'll let, if Dev
Oh,
wants
no,
to
no,
say
no.
anything, he can go.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'll talk after.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, I think that like Soypil's right that Drew is a grifter. I think I obviously agree, but I think to some extent, like, I don't know. I think it's maybe it's just like I have a pretty like lenient view of platforming. I think it is useful to show these people are grifting. I don't think the issue comes from them grifting. I think the issue is when like we're being told like, well, you guys can have more serious treat. We don't need to treat them like serious people then when we have conversations with them. That's all. I don't think it's about platforming or not. I think it's just about how we treat them in the platforms. That's all.
Just Soypil, can you mute when you're not talking, just because of the noise?
Is someone
Sorry,
dropping?
I know I'm
plates back there?
intimidating you, Wick. I'm sorry I'm intimidating you with my big weights. I'll fucking
No,
mute.
it's the noise. It's not. We can hear it on the camera. So, go ahead, Dev, please. You got something to say.
Imagine being at the gym and overhearing this conversation.
Is that what you had to say? Great, wonderful, honest.
No,
this
no,
has
no,
been. Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
No,
So-
Dev,
so
everyone in
basically,
this
like-
gym is an illegal immigrant, so they can't understand me. It's fine.
Okay, nice. No, this was a shit show debate, but I do think that there's definitely value in talking to people like Drew and the pedophile guy, whatever I forget his name. I just know he's a pedophile, but there's value in talking to Drew and the other guy.
Well, you call him a pedophile. Do you have evidence that he's a pedophile?
Oh yeah, sure. Hold on, I can send it to you.
Okay.
This is actually a big thing.
But go on with your as you're sending me. Go on with
We're
your
just
point.
all chilling. Face. Okay.
No, hold on. I'm getting the pedophile evidence. Give me like 30
I want to
seconds.
see the pedophile evidence. I do.
How's
Is
that
everybody? Are we
Crusaders
just?
best
Is
to me?
everybody a pedophile today? That's this is base. I like it. Okay, that's good. You know, just pedo out together. Share links. Anybody check the look? I'm just kidding. Hear me.
Okay.
Okay, I just DM'd it to you, Wick. Under his previous internet name, he said, "Fuck it, what do I have to lose? I'm deactivating anyway. I'm a pedophile." The only thing that
Base.
makes-
Hello.
The only thing that feels beautiful to me is destroying young lives, making them as ruined as me. There is no peace. It's like, oh, I guess he's just outright admitting it. Okay.
This is the same guy, or we like? What's the evidence that these are the same people?
So if you were to hop onto like the Wayback Machine or like an archive site and plug his Twitter account into those sites, it comes up as saying formerly known as Psyche, and the Psyche Twitter account said, "I'm a pedophile." So,
Jesus. That sounds like an ad hom to me, to be honest.
Did not know that. I guess. Hunter, if you wanna, if you want to dispute these allegations, by all means, you'd be allowed back on. I did not know this, but fair enough. Okay, yeah. What do you think of the debate as a whole, Dev? Do you think it's useful to have people like Drew on, or what?
it is, but mainly just to destroy them, like to destroy them completely and utterly. Like anybody who watched the Enrique Tarrio debate last time, that was a fucking joke. Like you couldn't any debate that, well, frankly, that I've been involved in, but in generally any debate with people who are pro MAGA who just lie about the facts constantly, it is always useful to make them look like retards. Always, 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 always.
Okay, so
Oh,
Dev is Team Wick, Soypil's anti-Wick. This is where we're going. Minnie, what do you have to say?
I wanted to say one thing. You should absolutely not give any ground on the idea that you can just like theorize about what law should be in a vacuum. That is not at all. Like the whole point of our legal system is that laws have to fit together with rights, and our precedent is important. And this idea that you can kind of just like fuck around and like theorize about what you think would be the right law in a situation is stupid, and you shouldn't give them that ground. I mean, I could talk more about that, but I feel like no one hearing that probably would disagree with it in that the way I said it. And Destiny, you need to read more about the fucking Biden's border policy. Maybe you have and you just don't care anymore, and that's why you're not bringing it up. But like Cato's done write-ups on
Yeah,
this.
I know. I've seen the
Like-
the 3-part. Yeah, I know. But it's just not even worth.
Okay.
That's one of those claims. It's like so outlandish. Like people aren't even ready to engage with it. It's fucking ridiculous. But no, I am familiar with
What's the
that.
claim? What's going on here?
Just basically that Biden basically handled the border better than Trump did, and you can't really blame Biden for the influence. But it's like this is like so outside of where the political conversation is now that it's
I feel like you take these stances though, where you like there are moments where you're like, no, I'm going to take this like really stupid stance to like stress test the fact that you don't know anything. But you never do it with immigration. And there's like moments where you'll catch people on like, oh, you said da 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 da, and it's like when people say let in, like I feel like letting like those comments are like, but if that's like,
no, I agree, they're
like,
stupid, but like you can't even. I agree with you so much. Listen, try it in a debate. Like the idea that like Biden is even intentionally letting people in is just such a stupid fucking point. It's all stupid. I agree with you though. It is stupid. I don't know.
Like half these people are just anti-immigration as a whole. They don't care, and then they also don't care about the factual matter. They're also just going to
that too. But I mean, like the biggest own that will never ever make any sense ever is if it was such a huge fucking deal. Why did we block legislation to actually do something about getting rid of the people in this country that would have chewed through the immigration backlogs, the asylum seeker backlogs? But then we didn't do that, and that's never coming. Trump is never doing that. That legislation is never coming in the United States. But they don't give a fuck about any of it. Immigration was never as big a deal as they thought it was. It's all bullshit to them.
I get that, but I feel like I think people keep bringing up, it's like, why did it take so long? The reason it took so long is because up until Title 42 ended, like we had 100% or like 90 whatever percent like expulsion from the border, and the bipartisan border bill started like months. It was like either in the lead up to or the end of like Title 42 going away.
Sure,
so
which I think was in
very little
22 or 2023. It was
like 20, yeah.
Yeah, it was
and
years
Biden
before.
Was the one
was
drafted
in 23. Voted on 24, early 24, late 23.
Yeah, I just feel like there's just moments that have frustrated me because I feel like I understand like what you like you're the not getting into it, and like obviously you have to concede things that are fantastical. I just feel like there are moments where it's like by not responding at least at all, you're like conceding that you believe that to be true, and that's just me being autistic about those like small moments.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah,
I understand your point of view. Yeah, I just think like of all the things to be like I feel like. The problem is that it's like, I think that you use sometimes like with this, like the whole like, why did we do that? Why did we shoot the border bill down? I feel like you're relying on intuition calls to like, oh, well, wouldn't blah, blah, blah. But like that requires them to have all the same other understandings about everything else all at once. And like, I think conservatives just kind of like, even if the facts don't all line up, I think they just respect like info dumps. If you can just like speak to things, like that's the reason why they feel that like they're smart, because they just have been info dumped a lot about a lot of random shit, even if half the stuff they've been info dumped on is just like completely wrong. And if you're able to speak to immigration, like I have had conversations with people where I talk about immigration. I'm not going to say like the come to Jesus moment, but like just being able to speak to like the fact that Biden sent more people back to Mexico than the entirety of the return to Mexico policy because he had Title 42 to do it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think return to Mexico by the end, wasn't it like 40 to 50,000 people total or something that got...
it was barely anything.
Yeah,
it was on its way out too. Like there wasn't even like we didn't even know if it was going to survive the courts.
The legal challenges,
but the fact, like, and just the fact that like, fucking, like if you look at the numbers, like Biden sent like at a factor of 10 more people back to Mexico when encountering them from the border. But I like it's you kind of just have to judge when it's worth it to go.
Maybe I'll get like maybe I'll memorize like a little gish gallop of like 5 or 10 of these little facts. You know, maybe
I think it would be good. I think there are moments like there are conversations with like the stage things even. The only other thing I'll criticize, you need to focus on the fucking Mike Pence tweet more.
They have an excuse for every fucking... Yeah, I know, but they have an excuse for every fucking tweet and everything, and it's just like, no matter... Like, it's just so fucking... Like, the fact that they could look at that Trump tweet and go, oh no, that was him calling for peace. And then you've got, like, the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota that are giving these impassioned pleas for peaceful... And they're like, well, I don't know, that doesn't seem peaceful. It's...
No, but the idea... The stay peaceful tweet is not the same tweet as the Mike Pence tweet.
I know, where they say...
Like 45 minutes in.
Sure. Yeah.
And like there was one time you mentioned that. It's like it happened. It was foreseeable, whether or not you want to say he caused it. But then once it happened, he waited 30 minutes and then publicly tweeted that he failed us. Call out.
Yeah.
But they like I feel like to start with like the immediate concession, like the hard line of he tried to take advantage of it, he stoked it, he tacitly admitted it. Like
I agree with your conclusions on all the following things that, like, yeah, he's like morally culpable for it. He like ultimately stay peaceful was not enough. Like blah blah blah. But like the like I think those require intuition on other things that you don't share with the person you're talking to. Whereas like, did he wait 30 minutes and then text Mike Pence didn't have the courage that needed to be done when he learned about the riots like 30 minutes earlier? Like, there's no, maybe I get someone will be able to rationalize that, but that's like starting with.
I mean,
you have
that's
to, like,
true, but we
break
saw
the
it in
character first.
It's true, but we saw it in real time, like where they were just like, oh, but like, no, it wasn't that. Like they're always like, no, that isn't that bad. Or they always have some kind of excuse for it.
I've listened to a fuck ton of conversations about this. This point is made. If it's ever made, it's made like an hour into the conversation under someone's breath, and the other person doesn't really hear it because they're like talking over it. And like the one time, it was like Destiny and Pisco at some point, they held on this idea that like by tweeting at Mike Pence and not calling them down at that one moment that he was tacitly like endorsing the violence, like the other person shut the fuck up after that point. They didn't say anything.
Literally every single thing. Like the issue is, like I agree, but like this kind of goes back to the whole issue with debating these people and why like we don't need to take it super seriously. Is that like they don't care? They'll hear it and they'll like whatever, and they'll make any excuse for it.
Well, but then maybe that's a stronger tweet to stand on than the other one or whatever. That could be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, here's the problem I have though, Stormwolf, and I do got to cycle a couple of you guys out to there's people who want still in, but I guess my pushback against, well, we shouldn't even take these people seriously. They're not serious people. We shouldn't debate them seriously. Is that we have people who do take them seriously watching, and whether they should or not is a different question. And I think that when we refuse to even engage, when it looks like we're just not engaging with what they're saying, it does hurt us optically, and it does hurt us.
Well, actually, Whick,
sure, we should engage. I mean, sure, we should engage, but we also don't need to like we don't like. I think Destiny did it really well. Where it's like, why are we talking about whether or not the insurrection should be applied when they can't even acknowledge whether or not the icing was like? You should push them on like being able to agree on facts, and if they can't agree on simple facts, and where's the conversation going, right? Why does this administration have any authority if they can just lie not tacitly, blatantly lie?
I think that it's okay to point out these lies. It's okay to remind people that they're lying. But when you don't even at least, I don't know, it just felt like we didn't get to actually have the conversation at all. And that sucked.
But we could have. If they would have known the underlying facts, though, we could have. But
that's the point. This conversation's starting on a ground where it's impossible to have because, like, the underlying facts matter. When we talk about why we're like invoking the Insurrection Act, the underlying facts of that matters. And if they can't agree to those underlying facts, and they can't agree that Donald Trump lied about those underlying facts, how do we proceed forward? And this is the issue. Facts matter, and if we're living in different realities, we can't proceed with conversations. That's why every conversation with Republicans now has to start with what is the truth of the matter.
Go ahead, Devin. I know Soypill has to go, so Soypill.
I'll just ask the question to everybody here. For a guy like Drew, who is a thought leader, he's a well-known talking head. Is he lying or is he ignorant? Which is it?
Both. I would say it's a level of negligent recklessness. He's reckless. Like if he cared about this, then he would know the facts. And the fact that he doesn't care about it, it means that even if it's not intentional, it's basically the same as. It's up to the level of like gross negligence.
I also do think it's intentional. Because I feel like I don't remember because I remember just seeing it like on my feed. But I feel like Drew's tweets like massively changed when Trump won, and like then when he saw the momentum behind Charlie Kirk, it feels like every time something happens and he feels like the right wing is more profitable, he just goes there. I could be wrong though. I'm not trying to like say that explicitly. It's just what I remember off his tweets, but I could be wrong. I'll admit that. But like Destiny said, even if that's not the case, the blatant level of ignorance is like a problem.
So it's just one of those things where like he could know, but he just doesn't. It's like, oh, if I looked into this, I'll be proven wrong, so I'm not going to look into it because I don't want to have to lie, basically.
It could be that, or it could be he just doesn't care. It might not even be like a conscious thing. He just doesn't care.
Okay.
I think it's just the basic of like collective skepticism. Like you just like are convinced of like fundamental truth.
Mitty,
go ahead.
Mitty, real quick. Soypill has to say something. He has to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. But like, I'm not saying you can never talk to these people. But obviously, like, I would love to have like when you did me versus the world, you got all these dipshits on. Great, cool. The problem is that you're holding a debate and you're presenting this as two people representing each side, which is not what's happening. Now, granted, for a lot of MAGA stuff, everyone is this much of a lying, grifting piece of shit. But for the most part, if you take someone who is completely grifting and lying and misrepresenting just to fill the position that you're saying is the legitimate other side of the conversation, you are enabling that. If you want to have Drew on for like the roast of Drew, look at he's such a fucking retard, great. But like if you're gonna have like an actual MAGA sycophant on and not someone like, I don't mind you platforming MAGA. I mind you platforming Drew.
They do
No,
represent
no,
that
he
side.
doesn't. No,
They
we just
do.
talked about this. Drew does not genuinely believe what he's saying. That's the point. You're letting
he is a
bad
thought
faith
leader
actors
on
come
the
in
right
and dodge the
MAGA.
fact he's that sure, but that doesn't mean that
Yes.
you're
So
fairly representing
again,
the other side of the
he is
conversation.
a representative of the side. And as you say, if you can show that the representatives of these people's sides are lying grifters, isn't that a W for you, right?
Yeah, sure. Look, if you want to have him on, sure. At least can you make it clear at the beginning, like, hey, this person's a lying, grifting piece of
Tell me
shit?
who I can and can't have on, frankly. But
I didn't say you couldn't have him on.
I
I said if you're going to have him
Ooh.
on, you should preface at the beginning.
I should preface. Okay.
Just
I do
title your
appreciate you
video left-wingers versus lying, grifting pieces of shit instead
Maybe
of,
we
hey,
have
it's
to
two
have a debate
legitimate
on
sides
this,
of the
Soy Pill,
conversation,
on
okay?
platforming debate. Me and Soy Pill, okay? Destiny will fucking moderate, and we can yell at each other when you're not busy.
Well, thanks.
At
I
your
love you.
Twitter.
Give me my $10 back.
Okay. No. Bye. See you later, Soy. Okay. I'm gonna cycle a couple of you out.
Just real quick before I gotta go. I sent
No, you can
you a
stay.
video.
We're not doing this fairly. Okay.
No, I should drop it anyway, but I sent
Fair
you a
enough.
video. You should play it, okay?
What is it?
I'll see you later, man.
Okay. See you later, man. Okay.
Play the
you
video.
People,
Play the video.
What do you got? You're live.
Hey, I noticed. I didn't expect to be dragged in. Truly.
Look, do you have anything, or should we go to other people? Okay, beautiful. Let's have someone else.
Yeah.
What do you got,
Hey.
Mr. B? I guess I can't say.
Yeah,
that.
it's Babza. It's fine.
Go ahead.
No,
What do
no,
you
I
got?
do. I'm sorry. I was just waiting. But let me mute. I'm sorry.
Am I going to gratitudes? No, because I went to.
Okay, Robert Paulson. I don't know what that was. What are we doing here, gang? Come on. Wonderful. We are. This has been a great call-in section of the stream. Love to see it.
Okay.
But a lot of these people aren't serious. I think that's kind of going to what
Jesus.
What Soy was saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think you are giving them kind of a sliding scale. Like, and I do understand that because there's not a lot of conservatives that are willing to debate, right? Like, I think that's understandable, but I think it's kind of like you guys are talking past each other. But they're definitely lying intentionally, and I think that you can see that with the selectivity of their ignorance. Their selectivity of their ignorance is what betrays the fact that they're lying.
That's why I brought up the thing about like drawing the Hunter Biden cock, because they know every single fucking thing about their chosen conspiracies, but they don't know about the largest, craziest fucking things happening on the conservative side. It's just unbelievable.
Like, if you just approach some random person on the street and you ask them these questions, a lot of them are going to just be like, oh, I don't know. And they might not know, but these people, they do know. They live and breathe this. So, but anyways, if I'm going to criticize Destiny here because the other guy isn't here, Downboard got a little cringe after the second time, probably.
I thought it was based every time, actually.
But,
I think it actually got more funny every single time I used it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
it was funny the first time. Yeah, I'll give you that. But it just.
I will say one big thing that I really wish these conservatives they push on the point about California having a net negative amount of people leaving the state of California. They look at that as a failure of the California state. Why is it that we do not look at this the same way when we're talking about the net immigration loss in the United States? Net immigration loss in the United States is seen as this huge win. That's a big thing that the MAGA movement is
real
claiming.
Quick to kind of like short circuit you a little bit. Yes, they don't want immigrants and they want less immigrants. So for them, it is a win.
so not to get too nerdy, right? Like, if we're playing any kind of game where you have like worker management, if you're just saying like, hey, we can give you like 50 more workers, and that's kind of
Yeah,
going
but
what
what
Destiny was saying during the debate is like,
yeah,
on the net,
answer
people are
the
going to
answer to
work
that is
more.
we're not an economic zone. That what they would say is we're not an economic zone. We're a people. We're a bloodline. We're a culture, and they worry that immigrants will change the culture. And a lot of them, that's code for white replacement and shit like that, right? But that, I mean, like this argument doesn't work because they don't care about that.
I mean,
They just
it does
don't.
work because despite that line of thinking, throughout the entire inception of the United States, we have had giant waves of immigration. And despite that, we have allowed people to come in. I mean, do you disagree with that? I mean, I know that you're not like,
Look, I'm
you don't.
pro-immigration. I am just giving
Sure,
you their
sure. Well, no,
arguments,
I'm sorry.
right?
I shouldn't have said that. I should have
Yeah,
said,
no, you're
do
fine.
you
But
not see how that
like,
short
I'm
circuits in the
pro-immigration.
other
I think
direction?
they're
Right.
wildly incorrect on their assumptions, wildly incorrect on what they should care about. But I'm telling
Sure,
you,
I understand.
having dealt with
Okay.
these people, this is their argument, and they do not care whether the GDP go up a point or two, right? They would argue that immigration hurts the culture. We are not an economic zone. We are a people. We are a bloodline, and it pollutes our bloodline, basically.
Right, and my answer to that would be the fact that since the inception of the United States, we have been a country of immigrants, and we have had giant waves of that. And I think that kind of short circuits in the other direction. But aside from that, like, I don't really have any other.
What do you got? Friendly Test and Rinald. What do you got?
Hello. I am. Oh wait, do you want to go first, buddy?
No, go nuts, man. Go crazy.
I am Team Whick. Okay. I want to ask, like, when we have debates like that, what are we angling for? Like, what's the point of doing those? Because like, I don't think there's a world where like anybody watches that and comes out with like more information in regard to the Insurrection Act or with like a better view of anybody who's not,
well, it's
pro
interesting you
MAGA.
bring that up, man. That's actually the reason I'm here. The fact that like all these guys kind of jump on. So Destiny at one point in time, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge fan of Destiny, but the fact that all those guys jumped on like all at once, and they kind of nitpick at each thing they like about Trump, like it's a weird sushi train, taking what they like, gobbling it up, and then hating everything else, despite the fact that the entire sushi train has been infected with salmonella. The fact that they keep doing this over and over and over again, representing what they enjoy, but trying to dissuade themselves from being connected to Trump in any regard is insane because it's all been tainted. So it's very interesting to see these guys jump on, make these conversations over and over and over again, despite the fact that it's all poison.
I agree, and I agree that like I agree with the overview of like how corrosive MAGA mindsets are, but I feel like we're slowly working to the point where debate just isn't useful anymore, right? Because like we're not changing anybody's minds here. I don't think we're changing, like what it used to be is that you change the viewers' minds through debate, right? Like you kind of use, how like in video essays they do like the straw man voice for different talking points. You could kind of do that, but it's not a straw man voice because somebody else is saying it. But I didn't like when I was watching that debate and I watched the whole thing, I didn't see like any straw man voice get addressed, right? It just kind of felt like all memeing, which if it's all memeing, then it's all memeing. But like, I just don't like, was that what the angle was the entire time? Or like, were we expecting to have a productive conversation there?
I'm not the moderator. What do you guys
I feel
think?
like debate is kind of dying right now.
I think that question is to Destiny, right? Like I was expecting a productive conversation, or at least maybe not productive, but at least we would talk about the issues at hand instead of you're lying, right?
My goal was to have a conversation, but we have to establish a shared reality. And then if we weren't going to establish a shared reality, then my goal was to just meme into fucking oblivion. Because this is what you would do with any single topic in the history of everything. We can bring up any concept of engineering or science or math or whatever you want. If somebody didn't have a basic fundamental groundwork of what they were talking about, you wouldn't entertain a higher level conversation. Nobody would waste their time on that. Nobody would do it. This is true in gaming. People who try to talk strats or whatever in StarCraft or League, and they're like fucking Silver League players. Why the fuck were you talking serious? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're a little noob. No offense, but it would be the same thing with every other concept. If you don't even know the basic facts of a thing, then why would you discuss the application of the Insurrection Act to it? This is stupid.
I partially agree, but I feel like that argument could probably be used against debating MAGA period at this point, because like almost any Trump supporter that you're going to be able to talk to is either going to be so mind-numbingly retarded on everything that they're not going to have a solid position, or they're going to be lying because they have a position and they can't defend it. Right. So like, I don't
But
even
again,
know
they're
why
not
we
they're
debate
not
with Republicans
they're
at
not
that point.
full-fledged MAGA, man. They're not like they're individuals that just pick and choose. They just like
Right,
the aspects that are actually going for them in every regard. It doesn't matter.
It's the same thing though. Like, I don't even know why we would debate with these people if like the bar is we can't engage in ideas because the person that's delivering the ideas is bad faith. Like, I agree that's the case, but then it kind of feels like debate as a concept is kind of dead at that point, right?
Until they kind of get the idea that their ideas are already tainted by the fact that they're supporting basically a regime that's doing absolute damage to the American system as a whole, it doesn't matter at this point, right?
Well, I think that
Like
the
they're holding up a house of
why
cards either
agree?
way.
just real
Why
quick,
agree
if
to
I
have
may,
debates
if
at
I
that
may, then
point? Then
I want to hear from the rest of you, right? If I may, though, like I think that one of the not the only driver, maybe not even the main driver, but a substantial driver of why things are going the way they are going politically for MAGA right now, and I think they're going to suffer. They're going to suffer a wild defeat in the midterms, right? Is because this keeps happening on not just Whick TV, right, but on actual CNN, on MSNBC, and all these kind of news organizations, these interviews with high-profile people. It's clear that, like, did you guys see Jake Tapper versus Kristi Noem? Did you guys see that
Mhm.
debate that they
Yeah.
had? It was clear Kristi Noem had no idea what she was talking about. And I think it was helpful that Jake Tapper was able to just calmly go through and give her the facts and showcase the facts and kind of juxtapose his knowledge and mastery of the topic versus someone who was just there, didn't know what they were talking about. And I think that is helping
This is not an
us when we do
interview.
that. But if Jake Tapper had all he had done is just started memeing, I don't think it would have been as effective.
This is not an interview. We're not interviewing individuals from the Trump administration. We're
I also
literally discussing
I disagree with
among
that. If he could have
natural
gotten,
citizens of the United States.
if he could have made her cry on TV, that would have been, we would have won every election immediately. They would have resigned from office.
I
She needs to be crying on TV.
disagree. I think that's a kind of a meme position. Tess, do you have anything, or are you just here to hang out?
No. I had 3 things. First of all, I was a bit mad that you didn't read my super chat.
Which one is
but
it? I'll read it
it's-
right now.
No. I can say it myself. So
Let him be mad.
basically, I made fun about the fact that you could establish that the church protesters were actually just praying very loudly. So everyone just prayed on their own, and basically taking them
Well, you
out of the
guys,
church would have
you guys do
obstructed
know that
their
that a
faith.
lot of people are in you might I think it's a little silly, but a lot of people are justifiably angry at what happened at that church. Like they did disrupt the service. I think that the right is taking it way out of proportion, right? And I think that the honestly,
Wick, I am
sometimes
being good faith. They're not here anymore, so you know I'm not lying to you. But okay, I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
I really did look for videos of what the fuck people were talking about. I saw videos, I think, of for less than an hour, people were inside of a church protesting. I didn't see anybody telling them to leave or asking them to leave. Maybe somebody did off camera. I don't know if I saw cops show up or not. Like, what the fuck happened?
So
Yeah, I'm
as
a bit
I
confused on that as well.
Yeah, as I understand it, they organized a protest, about 20 of them. Don Lemon was there to kind of be the reporter. As I understand it, again, I watched this a couple days ago, right? So forgive me if I make mistakes, but they came in and they started yelling and shouting at the congregation and to the pastor, and they were there to protest ICE. They started going around yelling, screaming, etc. I don't think it was appropriate, frankly. I think there's good reasons not to allow protests in a church, but I think that calling it like an attack was kind of
Well, okay, so like my question is like one, and I know this sounds really pedantic, but I'm like, did anybody ask them to leave or tell them to leave?
I didn't hear that, but again, I don't know.
But
Okay, because like I don't think that's illegal, right? Like anybody can walk into most churches and then you can start shouting, and then if
Yeah,
they
you
tell
can
you to
start-
leave, then
you
you
can
don't
start,
leave, then it's illegal. It's trespassing. You should be kicked out or arrested. But like I don't even know if
when I was active when I was growing up in the Mormon church and stuff, we would have on occasion, and it happened 2 or 3 times, where someone would actually actively challenge the preacher or whoever was speaking, and things like that. And they again had a discourse. There was a point, at least in one of them, where we did escort the guy out because he was just yelling, screaming, and disrupting everything, right? But yeah, the other two, it was fine. But I think it's kind of like, if they're actively trying to have a conversation, it's one thing, but if they're just actively screaming, I think it's fair for the church to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's no one is disputing that. I'm just asking, did they say that?
The issue.
Did they
Not to be
ask
charged
them
with
to leave?
insurrection, right?
I don't know.
Like, do you understand how
I don't know.
problematic
If
it is
anyone
that
in
nobody
chat
even
has
knows
a-
this? And I only watched an hour of the video, maybe. But so, like, my
Yeah.
intuition is that nobody even told him to leave, because I feel like if that was the case, we would just have video of that, and the conservatives would be screaming about that. But if I were to listen to,
people in
like,
chat
what the
are saying
one
they do. If you have a clip of them asking them to leave, send it to me.
yeah, I'm just curious
because
because
on stream.
like I said, I only watched about an hour, I
I'll
think, of
play
the
it on
Don
stream.
Lemon stuff, and I
If they
couldn't.
did, then they should have left. Problem solved.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But like
Okay.
listening to what the one
Yeah,
guy
like
in
I
here was
said,
talking about, it
if any
sounds
of
like
it's
there was
clip,
like a
I will watch
fucking like a riot at the church, and like the building's being destroyed, or that like people were being attacked or threatened. And I don't know. When I saw it, it just looked like kind of a protest. People were inside being kind of loud.
Yeah,
and then,
people are saying that there are.
BLM
But send it to
2019.
my DMs and we will watch it. But like, yeah. Anyway.
Meanwhile, can
sorry,
I ask
Tess,
a question to
interrupted you.
Destiny?
Go ahead. Continue.
I like my second thing was I'm a bit confused about like we know that on May 11th of 2023 Title 42 expired, and on May 23rd of 2024 the Senate voted down the border bill. So basically, Trump has time until the February 1st to establish a bill to seal the border, or otherwise he objectively is worse in sealing the border via legislation than Biden, which is kind of funny.
I mean, Republicans don't even want a bill, right? Like that's something that they probably say.
yes,
So
they'll say that the executive order was enough, and they don't actually like the idea of having more asylum judges, and they just want them all fucking thrown out or whatever.
we didn't need new legislation. We needed a new president.
Yeah. Trump showed that he could do what needed to be done, just as the president, without needing the weak loser Congress to do anything.
And the last thing I wanted to ask is why didn't no one address the fact that like the Ash guy at the beginning in his opening statement said that the people voted for Trump to do this shit, but basically the people where Trump does his shit voted against him, like Minnesota, California, and so.
I mean,
so
I kind
basically
of
the people in the.
I kind of brought this up when that's just like a stupid point. Like the people vote, just because somebody votes for the president to do a thing doesn't mean he has the unilateral authority to do whatever he wants, like in any part of the country. But yeah, I mean, like to your point, even more specifically, like people didn't vote to do it there.
I didn't
like
catch that part.
Biden-
What was the specifics there? He was saying literally like everything he's doing with ICE as of right now is okay.
Basically, because people voted for it. It was a stupid talking point.
I mean, by that standard,
Like,
the people
funding's going to
voted for
come
the
into
Biden
measure here
border
at some point in
invasion,
time.
right?
That's going to be an issue for them, right?
The people what?
That funding is going to become an issue for him in regards to ICE. Hey, sorry, excuse me. Like at some point in time, Congress is going to look at the funding that they're actually attributing to ICE.
Are
That's
they?
going to become a problem in a month, isn't it not?
I don't know. I don't know. When you say Congress, I don't know what they. I'm not actually sure what they do anymore, so I don't know.
We talked about this in backstage, and it seems like the Democrats actually become the party of states' rights when it comes to stuff like that. Just kind of funny.
Yes. Well, I'm going to cycle a couple of you. I want to get as many people as I can. So thank you for coming.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Love you, Wick. Oh my.
What?
Okay, you're live. Oh, well, not him. Okay, you're live, gang.
What? What's up?
Okay, gang, don't hit join voice when I pull you in. You have something to say? Say. Right, go ahead. You're live.
Good one, guys.
Wait, whoa. Hello?
Yeah, you're here to talk to the show. What do you have to say?
I'm talking.
Okay, what do you got?
Hello, Kirk Henry. I just joined backstage. I did not know what the fuck was going on. I just got randomly pulled in here, so that's what I got to say.
Okay, well, great. What about you, MK? You got anything? You're deafened still? Cycle both of you I'm sorry. Okay.
Whoa. Hey, how's
You're
it going?
live. Yeah. What do you
So, I just more had a comment, I guess. The one of the things that bothers me about shit like this, like dealing with these kind of people. So I have a PhD in chemistry with a focus in atmospheric science. You can kind of guess how that goes normally with conservatives because they believe fucking global warming's fake. They believe all this other shit. This is more of like, do you have advice on how to handle somebody like that you know personally that does this kind of shit to you? Because I know people that personally believe the shit I do in real life is completely fake, and I don't know if I just
Yeah, I got a lot of friends who are like doctors and stuff who hear the same thing from their family members about like vaccines and stupid
insane.
shit, everything too. Yeah, I feel really bad. I'm glad I don't have that shit. Well, I guess my mom does it to me with debaters and stuff. So, yeah.
My immediate family is like super lib, but it's insane to have to deal with, and I know you've had to deal with it as well with your family. So, it's like I don't even know how to address that shit when they bring it up at this point, because it's like I don't live in the same reality with these people.
Well, no clue.
Obviously, I can't meme like you guys can out of the, for the content. So that's all I wanted to say.
Saying
That's true. Yeah.
But they have to pay you to do it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
Is that technically consulting?
Probably. What about you other guys? What do you got?
So I guess for Destiny, do you feel like the way that you conduct yourself now in these debates is better or worse than, like, say 2 years ago? Because I feel like 2 years ago when I would watch your content, well, I guess I kind of disagree, but I felt like you were going into these conservative spaces and you were kind of making a mockery of them just by how much facts and knowledge that you have on all these different topics. And every time they would try to stray down some alley, that you just immediately be prepared for it and you would just shut them down. And it kind of, I could see your audience growing during that time as well. And it's kind of stagnated. And I feel like it's because you've switched to more of this aggressive, which is like good for, I guess, the liberal side. But
I think it's stagnated. I think the last year is more has to do with the fact that an insane conservative and then an e-whore decided to fucking do a year worth of legislation against me, or civil litigation against me. I think it's the beginning. But no, I think the issue is that like in terms of like reaching out to kind of like centristy people or conservatives, like that reach is probably less. But right now I'm more just kind of like, I think that liberals should have some fun times and have some things to, stand taller on, I think, is a more important thing right now. That's what I'm more interested in. I don't care if conservatives don't like me as much. I think that these people have proven that they get little to no consideration intellectually or morally at the moment. I'm not interested in kind of like trying to appeal to them. The same way that when all the conservatives were doing their Ben Shapiro fucking mentally rapes college students and Milo Yiannopoulos fucking obliterates tranny losers and all this, like, they didn't seem to give much of a fuck about how do we appeal to the left. All they did was constantly shit on people on our side, dehumanize and whatever else they could do to anybody at our side while making their side feel all hip and cool and everything else. And I think it'd be better to have like a stronger liberal side. And I think that, so while I might lose the reach with conservatives, I just think that liberals should have a stronger voice. And then it also helps us kind of like ward off the CCP page shills like Hassan Piker and everything from the left too, because there's like a stronger liberal side that you can actually point to. You don't have to feel embarrassed when he's like, oh, I support like the liberal candidate or the liberal movement, because you have things that you can speak positively of, like stronger positions they have, rather than this endless apologia that you have to play in order to get conservatives to like acknowledge that you have a legitimate point before they, waddle on down to the voting booth to vote for a conservative again.
I definitely agree with a lot of what you said. I think the center right, though, is where, like, that's kind of where I was. I was center left, and then I kind of moved center right, and then watching your content pulled me back. And I do feel like at the end of the day, with these elections and these debates, like, you're just fighting over the center. The extremes, you're never going to win. And I just feel like it's a, I don't know. I understand everything you're saying. It just, as somebody that you kind of moved back over from the right, it just feels bad because I try to send this to other people that I can see that are center right content watchers, and I'm like, watch this guy. And whereas 2 years ago I could get those people to come back over, I feel like the content now, that definitely doesn't work. They don't even hear what you're saying. Like, man, this guy's just unhinged. And I'm like, are you not listening to what he's saying though? Because I feel like what he's saying makes a lot of sense and gets people back, but I don't know, maybe.
Sure, you know what? Here's a challenge that I would give to you, because I've had friends that are conservatives that I've had this personal these have gotten really nasty. Actually, if you read Lauren's book or whatever, when we met in New York, this was part of the argument that I had with her, because she would always do this thing where she'd be like, oh, well, when you were being nicer to conservatives, you had a better time communicating, blah, blah, blah. And one of my huge points was, show me a single fucking conversation, one conversation you've had with a conservative friend where you've told them that they're going too hard. And for her, she couldn't give me a single fucking one. None. And there's always some excuse, well, I expect you to act better, or you read blah, blah, blah. It's like bullshit. Like, this is the double standard is crazy. I'm curious, if I were to ask you, and I mean, you don't have to show me conversations, but like, are you also like, are you telling your conservative friends, like, you're way overboard, bro, like, you need to chill out, like, this is really dehumanizing, or it's crazy how they're attacking trans people or immigrants or minorities like this? Like, it just seems like there's never that same hand-wringing on the right.
I mean, I definitely, with my parents, with friends that I have, like coworkers that are super right-leaning, I always kind of, if somebody's really extreme, I tend to, I don't know what you would call it, I guess a contrarian, but if somebody's swinging way too hard one way, I will definitely try to orbit the other way of like trying to get them to realize how ridiculous what they're saying.
Well, sure, but wait, real quick. When you say swinging too hard one way, in my mind, the swinging too hard one way is the policy positions of the current administration. Not like they're saying like, oh, we need to have death camps, but like the current policy position of the current administration is swinging too far one way. So if somebody's out here and they're saying like, well, right now I think I just support, like ICE breaking into people's houses and like deporting people and not even really getting proper warrants to do it. And I think that Trump is actually within his rights to be jailing and arresting political dissidents in the United States and everything. Like that, in my mind, if you're just saying like, okay, well, I can respect your position, and then you turn to somebody like me on the left, like, Destiny, you're going way too hard when you're making fun of these people for not knowing basic facts or anything they're talking about. In my mind, like, this is not an equivalent. This is not a world that I accept. That's what I mean. Yeah.
It's also a question I've had for a while. Sorry,
No,
to cut
just
you off, Fats. Go ahead.
Just real quick, like when you say this, that where are the people who are saying, hey, you're going too far on the liberals, hey, you're going too far on the left, you need to tone it down. I can't point to a talking head who said that off the top of my head, but I can point to friends and family members who I know voted for Trump and who have defended me when other family members, other friends accost me and say, oh, you're a baby killer because you're a liberal. Oh, you're this. They have.
I don't care. Those family and friends that you're talking about are even worse human beings because they're incapable of extending the personal empathy that they have towards you for people that aren't in their immediate vicinity. I always say that these people need to be locked in mental institutions forever because I think you have severe cognitive impairment if you can't imagine a thing that exists outside of the room that you're in. That I could walk into one of these people's rooms, I could steal their wallet, and then I could put my hands over my face and they would go, where did he go? I can't see him anymore. That's crazy to me.
You asked for a situation where there was a conversation where they were saying, hey, you're going too hard on the left.
Yeah, but no, not on the left. But you didn't say on the left. You said it was on you personally. That's fine that they're defending you personally because you're a family or friend. But I'm talking about a general check on the rhetoric in general, on the right versus the left. I never hear people on the right do this to themselves.
So you're saying a right-leaning person that
is telling other right-leaning people like, hey, bro, like maybe this is like a little bit too much. I never hear that.
Evil, the left isn't all bad. I've heard, well, not the left, but liberals aren't all evil. Liberals aren't all bad, right? I've absolutely heard that.
Okay, I never hear this interpersonally. And them defending you personally doesn't count. It has to be like a defense of the left, because nobody, when they attack me, it's not like, oh, you personally hurt my right-leaning friend. It's, oh, well, you shouldn't go so hard on all the people on the right in general because you might turn some of them off with your rhetoric and it's unfair to generalize them all. Not about a personal thing, but they're saying like politically in terms of their speech. It's different to do that versus having somebody saying like, oh, don't attack my friend personally. Not everybody on the left is a bad person. Those are like different positions to take.
Okay, $20 from Poopy Toaster. Oh, thank you. Says, crazy how these some callers expect Destiny to make good points and change people's minds. Meanwhile, Drew is just expected to wipe the drool off his face. I'll address that. Yes, I expect more of Destiny because he has more ability than Drew does. I think that Drew's ability is much, much less. So why would I expect him to do the same thing as Destiny? I expect Drew to do what Drew did tonight. That's what I expect. I don't know. But that's why I wouldn't vote for Drew, where I might vote for Destiny, right?
I kind of understand Destiny's position a little bit just because I've seen previous conversations like the ones he had with Ben Shapiro and et cetera, where they were, I mean, even if you look at the comments on those videos, you get that classic conservative like, oh, this Destiny guy isn't so bad, blah, blah, blah. But these people are still fucking going out and just voting down the party line for this insane shit over and over.
I don't know.
And I don't know how you break out of that.
I don't know. I think what Destiny was doing
I think was the way to break out of it. I think somebody's got to start that like olive branch, and then you eventually start to pull people back over to your side of like, oh, this guy's pretty reasonable. They start to listen to all of your points. I think right now, especially now, anytime you come in and you're just so hard right out of the gate, you're just their brains just turn off. They can't even hear what you're saying. All they hear is you screaming and using the. I mean, it was really
Yeah, but
funny when you were using
how
the
did they win
soundboard,
so
but
many elections? How did Trump win the second election? They never did. When the fuck is Trump olive branching?
No. Well, they only won in 2024 because, well, in my opinion, the left went a little too crazy at some points and
How?
they lost the center right.
With
Or
Harris?
against
Harris was too much?
No, I think it was before that. It was really kind of in between. Well, no, I guess it would have
It's
been
too late.
from
You've already said it. I'm
20
killing
and
myself. I can't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like, come on, Biden and Harris, these are like the nicest, most milquetoast people in the universe, and
it's
this
not
was
the
too
not
extreme.
the policy people. Not the policy. I think it's all the. It's,
The people on Twitter. The people on Twitter.
It is. Unfortunately, I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. It's absolutely that's who they're pulling up. If you can go up and pull, it's that woman that's screaming at when Trump was reined in as the president. That goes like the no, like that's what they show, and that's what ends up switching people.
Well,
I think it's
this
wrong.
is what I mean by
don't
how
think
do
it's
you
right.
How do you bridge this gap? Because
What Disney was
there's
doing was the way
just-
to bridge it. You come in.
I don't
and
think it
you
was because
show
they're
that
even more
being-
unhinged this year than they were last year.
Well, now because
this
he's
year
no
is in
longer doing it like
2025.
that. He's no longer doing it that way. But I think, and I mean, not every single left-leaning person is going to do this. But I think, like, Destiny has the ability to not to just glaze him here, but he has the ability to speak very quickly and get it in his points. And he has, I don't even know what his memory is like, but he's able to recall all these really specific points and stuff to where. Unlike, I think, most left-leaning people when they're talking to right-leaning people, they just sound like idiots. Like, Destiny has a really... Even when I would watch those debates, the right-leaning people would be... Like, Ben Shapiro's usually an aggressive... He goes down, jumps down to people. He was like a docile lamb in front of Destiny.
Yeah,
like,
but
every
it's because
single
he
point that
knows
Destiny
he
would bring
can't
up,
say retarded shit in front of me. So then if I agree not
but
to push on anything, then we
that's-
sit there and we have a little mutual jerk-off.
But it shows, I think, to the right-leaning people, they're like, damn, dude, this guy comes in, he acts completely different. Jordan Peterson looked like an idiot when he was talking to you.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
all these people...
Well, but
when
like, it should have been more brutal.
I actually think, well, maybe in a second time, but the first time I thought it was great because
Yeah, there was no second time with either one. Despite how gentle and docile.
I think it was because, I mean, I think it was the Trump attempted assassination is where I saw the shift with you very quickly. It was like those tweets that came out. It was like, oh boy, I don't know if you thought that like this was the end of the election and you were just going to go scorched earth from then on, but as soon as that
No, it
bullet
was
whizzed
more
by
like I
Trump's
think
head,
it's
I
okay to
was
have
like,
a
there goes
principled
Destiny.
position to some extent rather than cuck out for somebody whose only fucking concern is when somebody says or does something bad against Jews or Israel. And then in terms of the other guy, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, so I'm not going to say anything about Jordan Peterson because I'm pretty sure he's fucking rotting in a grave somewhere. I think he had a second death moment or something.
Yes.
No, the double standards are ridiculous. Fuck it. I think in the left, I think we should feel pumped the fuck up. I think we should make fun of these fucking losers. I think there should be some level of like shame and embarrassment. When I go on liberal or left podcasts, I feel embarrassed if I talk about like, yeah, I'm voting for Biden. Yeah, I'm voting for Harris. Like it's like a loser position to have. Meanwhile, these guys can walk around with impunity being the biggest Trump cum socks in the universe with absolutely no shame at all. Nah, I think they're blowing the fuck up for it. It figuratively, metaphorically.
Okay, I'm cycle you guys out. We'll have one more guest round and then we'll...
Well, good talking to you guys.
close it out. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for letting.
And last but not least...
Hello?
Okay, what you got?
I think my main point is just going to be that I think that the way that Destiny speaks to these people is probably the best way he can speak to them. Like the only time that Drew guy ever said anything of worth was when he said that he didn't want to go personal, but then rattled off all of Destiny's personal life.
Nice.
Like there's no point arguing with these guys about anything substantive because that's of no interest to them. They can't present anything. Whenever Destiny debates people like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro, if you ask them about, what did you enjoy about it? The only thing they'd say is like, oh, I really enjoyed speaking to him. It's the one good person who can actually speak back, but they won't actually engage with any sort of arguments and then just go on with personal attacks when he's not there. It's just dumb. There's no point arguing, with facts or logic against these people because they're so ideologically opposed. They can just end an argument with, "Yeah, but his hair was blue once," and then that's it. They've won. They go away. All of their fans are clapping.
I don't think they win. I think they look stupid doing that.
They look stupid only to people like us. They don't look stupid to their own kind. You're not ever convincing.
No, I
anyone.
think they look stupid to
I don't
the other side too. I do.
don't.
I think
Here's
that-
like this is the
look,
call out
if
I'll
you
make.
look at
Listen, this is a super simple call out I'll make. Okay, listen, I will just as long as you can engage with the facts, it'll never get to this point. But if you start coming on here arguing some shit that the panel's about, and you don't even know like the basic fucking facts about a thing, then I'm just gonna make fun of you until you cry. That's it. I think it's a super reasonable, easy standard. You should know the basic facts about what you want to come on and talk about. I think.
Their most creative moments were when they were making personal attacks, because that's what they focus on. They have
True.
no interest in focusing on anything worthwhile. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you might as well just carry on playing ARC Raiders or spamming, fucking soundboards, because that's what gets them talking. And to be honest, it brain breaks them so much at the beginning that by the time it gets to the end and you actually start talking about the facts, they don't even combat it because they're so fucked in the head by that point. It's the only time you'll actually
I
get
think
to.
that they're just annoyed at that point. But
Yeah,
Leon,
good.
go ahead. What do you got, Leon?
No, but it's the only time they'll shut up, anyways. But yeah, cool. Anyways, I'm gonna bounce. But listen, you need to play more D&D. Okay, bye.
So basically, I'm a bit old right now because we live in a post-truth society, and there's no consequences to lie. I'm not even sure what can we do right now to make people accountable for lying. It's just advantageous to lie. What in debates can we make moderators fact check people in real time or something like that, because it's not even playing by the same rules in a
Yeah, but I don't even know how
soccer
you.
game.
I don't even know how you fact check, right? We watched 2 videos of like the most emphatic calls to like peaceful protest and to explicitly saying stop the violence, and like the fucking knuckle draggers here are literally like, well, he didn't say explicitly. It's just like I don't even know what you can fact check for these people.
But I mean, in TV, debates in the past, they held people accountable. They fact checked in real time. They made sure people answered questions. We are just right now. There's no stakes. There's no honor. People just fucking lie all the time, man. And it's
I just
fucking
disagree
blackpilling
with
me
you
because
that-
it's worldwide.
Yeah, I just disagree with you that this is helping them. I think they look stupid, and I think it's hurting them that they behave this way.
I don't think so, because what's
Well, I
the
think
consequences?
we saw the November of last year, 2025. We saw then. We've seen in the special elections going through, and I'll bet you some money that we see it again in the midterms. You got.
And I think that's a
$100
consequence.
you're willing to put on the table.
I think that's just a consequence of Trump fucking up so bad. If Trump wasn't fucking up so bad, I don't think people would even notice. Because if you lie, and you're like JD Vance, for example, which is a much better liar.
Hold on, it's obviously not going to be the entire reason, or even the main reason. But these things.
Yeah, but that's not
accelerating
good though, right? It's like imagine Hitler would have survived the next election and he ends up getting voted out of office because the people are mad because he should have killed 12 million instead of 6. And you're like, well, look, he lost the election, and it's like, okay, yeah, but not for the right reason. Like, that's not a thing to celebrate.
Exactly.
Well, to be clear, I do think that Trump should, it is a good reason that the Republican Party is going to lose because they are proven incapable of governing. I think.
Yeah,
that's
I
a
know,
perfectly
but it's not
fine
because of
reason
but
to
they
lose.
should lose because of the style of governance that they're advocating and attempting to do.
That should also be true. Yes. Alish, what do you got?
Sorry.
If you want to respond to that, go ahead. But then Alish.
No, I was just gonna say that the more posh Republicans that still lie, they have no consequences still, and it's not noticed as much. You just notice Trump because he's fucking up so bad, and that's the advantage and the disadvantage. But yeah, thank you, man.
No problem, Alish.
All right, so this is a bit of a spicy position to take as a liberal, but I think you said something about I don't remember the percentage, but 40-something% of people say that ICE should be abolished. Is that?
I think it's 42% right now.
42%. So I'm kind of the opinion that ICE should not necessarily be abolished. Where are you on that?
I mean, that's generally my position. Like, I mean, it's important to enforce the immigration stuff in the country. I don't think we should have people here illegally and just sitting here with no consequence. But I think that the reputation of ICE has been so fucking tarnished at this point, and the way that Trump is kind of using them as his little Gestapo army, I think is just, I think at this point, I think they need to go. And if we want to like redo it and make some other organization or hand over those responsibilities to some other department, like they did with the Department of Education, then we should just do that, I think.
So I really think that like not like abolishment, but reformation would probably be the best thing. So like, for example, I said earlier that there was a act that was up in Maryland for the Icebreaker Act that would say that it specifically says all current or newly hired ICE officers are not going to be eligible for any law enforcement in the future, because it is my understanding that a lot of these people are not even being hired or brought up to standards when it comes to this. So I don't think that ICE should be abolished whatsoever. I mean, they were used to the advantage in the Obama era, and we can't forget that he was the deporter in chief. So I don't think I think it's really detrimental to actually abolish the entire.
I mean, like, it would be like Germany making a new police force or whatever and calling them the Gestapo, but saying go like reformed. Like, I think the reputation is so fucked at this point. Like, you've got like mass dudes running around with all sorts of crazy shit. Like, I don't know. Well, like, I'm the most like bootlegger pro police dude on the fucking left. I literally am. I don't think anybody is more than me. But like at this point, like I would say the reputation is so fucked. I wouldn't even try to salvage it. I would just reform and replace, or like just replace it with something else. It could be an equivalent job, but ICE as it exists right now has to go. I don't know, something else.
Like, what would you even replace it with?
Like it could be like the same type of org. I think the function is important.
Clear,
yeah.
Yeah, ICE is relatively new. It didn't. I think it was formed in 2003.
Probably as part of the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, department. Yeah, I think Department. Yeah, like we would just go to the world before that, right? Which isn't too long.
Well, I mean, but the thing is we saw it being used effectively. So why would we already take something that's effective? That was effective back in the Obama era and the Biden era.
Because it's lost the public trust, and without the public trust, it cannot do its job.
But we also have that same rhetoric that is kind of ringing true for other things that have, wanted to be abolished, and we still haven't done that.
Wait, like what?
In addition, I think
we've never had
or what's a comparable? Wait. What's a comparable example of that then? When you say other things, like what are we talking about?
So I mean, although it wasn't successful, like a lot of people have been saying, like defund, abolish the police and stuff like that, which is not entirely comparable, but still,
that
like
never had public support.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But in general, I feel like saying abolish ICE and then not having something in place or some sort of plan for it is basically not going to appeal to any of the moderates whatsoever.
I don't disagree. Also, I would be careful. Fuck moderates, but like center left people, I agree that like the messaging needs to be careful. Like, because a lot of people that used to say the abolish ICE shit are just fucking losers that think that we should just have like all borders and no immigration enforcement or whatever, which I think is stupid. Like, I don't disagree that we should be careful in terms of how we talk about it there. But you were just asking me personally, would I keep ICE? I wouldn't. But I mean, I would replace them with like an equivalent organization that does immigration enforcement, everything. Yeah.
But I mean, would it make more sense to just go through and abolish the people and get rid of the people who were maybe hired in the last year or so?
No, I think the reputation, like I said, it's like keeping the Gestapo, but like hiring new people. Like I think the reputation has just been completely and utterly fucked.
Okay, well, we obviously don't care about reputation because fucking Trump was elected again, so that's out of the it's off the table right now. So reputation obviously doesn't fucking matter to anybody.
Well, what do you mean?
So the argument would be that Trump has tarnished the reputation of the presidency so much, so why don't we just abolish that too, right? Like,
no, that's not my argument. I said like Trump.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
So Trump already tarnished his reputation by being the president the first time, and he was still.
Yeah, but Destiny wants to abolish Trump. Destiny wants to abolish Trump.
Well, wait, and also I don't think Trump abolished his reputation. Clearly not. He got elected again. No.
He doesn't have a choice. He got elected again. You can't well, he doesn't have a choice this time. I mean, he can't be elected again. And even though fucking what's his face says that he's going to try to do it anyway, that doesn't mean he can. He's going to abolish him because he's either going to kick the bucket or he's going to age out, or 4 years are going to end and he's going to be done.
Okay. So I guess I got a question. One last question for Destiny, then I'll let you guys go. In the future, when I do set these things up, how do you want me to approach this then. If this is going to be like how you're going to like interact with these people, it's going to be even harder than it is to get people on, to be very clear with you.
Why would it be harder? They can't just stay. They can
Because-
just have a fact-based conversation where they're not making shit up. That's really that hard?
In certain cases, they just disagree with what the facts are.
Oh, well. We have medication for those types of people.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for calling in. Thank you for everyone for being here. Gang, what do we got coming up? If you like this stream, for whatever reason, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Next week on Monday, we are going to have Christy Winters, the feminist who fought against our Sargon of Akkad. We're going to have Stardust. We're going to have Ash, and we're going to have Marlo, and they're going to be discussing, should we hold women more accountable? Because I need a break from the ice stuff, gang. I'm going to be real with you. But yeah, tune in for that. Should be fun.
Can I suggest a question for
Destiny?
that? Just a thing for if you guys are going to talk about that?
Please.
You guys should ask. I think you should establish, does body count matter?
Okay.
Does it matter to
I
you?
don't know if we're going to go full red pill.
Just in general. Just
Okay, I'll let you guys go. See you later.
be careful.
So the thing I keep thinking about is, was it worth it to be happy for a little bit? Even though it ended up sad? Or would it have been better if the whole thing never happened?